Comforted Man here.
I have for many years considered myself an agnostic theist.
I'm a skeptical skeptic who doubts, disbelieves, and demands proof for all the things.
While some atheists are content with not believing in God and allowing others their choice to do the opposite, there is a loud and screeching minority that has made it their job to tell you that if you believe in God, you are stupid.
2Q. You as well. Well, not you particularly or specifically, but people of religion tend to, and sometimes have, said that it is foolish to not believe in God. Christians will point to a particular verse in the Bible that says, "He who doubts God in his heart is a fool." And they'll say that and be like, "Ha ha!" And on April Fool's Day, they'll be like, "It's Atheist Day!" Ha 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 ha! So, yeah, they do this as well. So what? What's your point? Does that negate any arguments being made? I don't think it's a particularly good argument to say that X, Y, or Z person is a fool or dumb or not intelligent or delusional or fill in the blank, because that might be the case, but who cares? What matters is the argument, not the sort of person presenting it or the group presenting it, but the argument. Now, it might be the case in actuality that it is a delusion to hold this idea, and so as a result of that, if that was a fact, then most of the planet would have to be delusional. Oh well, if that's what's true, then that's what's true. But you would have to prove that that was true. I know that some have said that that's true. Well, then your rebuttal is prove that that is true. And then your second rebuttal is, oh, and by the way, ad hominem. Because so what? Even if it's true, it would be trivially true at best. But continue to complain about atheists calling believers stupid and so on and so forth if it helps you construct your straw man, by all means.
Even erudite and very intelligent men like Richard Dawkins proselytize. That's right, they proselytize by explaining that God does not exist and people who believe in a prime mover are, in his words, delusional.
And so what? Oh no, they're proselytizing. What, only theists are allowed to do that? Or I mean, what's the deal? What's the complaint here? That he says people are delusional? So what? Just debate him on that point then.
And he and people like him, including Sam Harris and the late Christopher Hitchens, are very well-spoken and educated men. The problem is, they and their lesser parrots.
Oh yeah, because anyone that is an atheist and proselytizes is obviously just a parrot of Dawkins or Harris or the late great Christopher Hitchens. Blah, 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 blah.
Only argue the concept of God on a philosophical or scientific level, but fail to observe the logical conclusions of their crusade against religion. While many that advocate atheism, and that atheists, in Dawkins' words, can be happy and moral people, and I do not disagree with this at all, advocates of atheism offer nothing, no substitute for the vast majority of people that do believe in God, nor do they even contemplate, let alone speak of the social vacuum that has been created in places like Europe with the fall of Christianity.
Oh yeah, those appeal to consequences really hit you hard, don't they? Oh man, we take away their belief in God and we leave them with nothing. So on the one hand, yes, people can be moral and ethical that are atheists, and they seem to do fine. But on the other hand, when you take away God, all these people just go crazy, and then there's riots on the street and fires and police coming in and the military, and it's Armageddon. So how is it that these people were able to live without God, but then these people weren't? They were fine. These people were fine. These people aren't. So what? Oh, it's atheism's fault that that that's the way it is, if that's indeed the way it is, and therefore, as the consequence is too great, we need to say something. We need to replace religion and belief in God with something else, because humanity is so weak that without it, they'll just go nuts and be barbarous. Is that what you're saying? I mean, that would have to be what you were saying to some extent. Is that without God, the majority of people would just be helpless, insane, Neanderthalic, animalistic, just crazy people killing everybody left and right and then eating them because they don't have anything to fill the void of God and religion. Bum, bum, bum. So I guess then the atheists really do have a higher moral, ethical position than any theist ever could hope to have, if that's indeed what your appeal to consequence is trying to say. Which, if it is, that's really not working well in your favor.
While Dawkins, Harris, and Hitchens, to their credit, were equally vocal in their denunciations of all religions, given the society in which they operate in and the potential populations that would be receptive to their arguments, the only real target for derision in the West is always singular. Targeting Christianity is always the easy option because it has always been an integral part of most of the West for at least 1,000 years. Criticism of Islam, on the other hand, has always carried with it the credible threat of violence, as we have now seen across the world. But this is the thing. Christianity has been a pillar of the Western world throughout its ascendance to its current prominence and dominance. Western culture has shaped Christianity just as much as Christianity has shaped Western culture. The morality expressed and enforced in the teachings of the varied sects is uniquely Western in temperament and structure. This absolutism produced the modern world around us. It fosters charity, community, education, collectivism, and most importantly, family. This is what you're fighting when you fight Christianity, and this is what Christians are defending. The vast majority of practicing Christians don't care if snakes can talk, if parting the Red Sea actually ever happened, or if Jesus was really able to turn water into wine.
Wow. The association causation linkage required to make the statement that when you're fighting Christianity, you're really actually fighting family values. How in the world is that the case? And what you've said about the influence, or however you want to put it, the moral fiber of the West being intertwined with Christianity. I don't know. Maybe tentatively, but okay. And so what? You know, we might not need it anymore. And it's not the atheists that are like killing off the Christians, so to speak. At least not actually killing them off. If anything, Christianity is dying on its own, and maybe atheists are kind of pushing at it to hurry up its demise. But that's not going after the family or family values or the traditional family or anything like that. And you're ridiculous for suggesting such a thing. Just, wow. But you have to make this point to make an argument, because, you know, it's the only thing, I suppose, going for Christianity. There's no facts or evidence to back it up, but hey, it has good morals. Well, okay, the Bible doesn't, but we made good morals because of Christianity. No, we made good morals despite Christianity. But we owe our moral fiber and whole society to Christianity. So you're trying to destroy the West by trying to destroy Christianity. And no. The Marxists, postmodernists, feminists, SJWs, perhaps even MGTOW, and whoever else, whatever, Black Lives Matter, whatever other crazy groups we have out there, and the Islamic religion, yeah, they're all trying to destroy the West for sure. But atheism trying to do that? No. not even close. And even if we were successful in wiping out belief in Christianity, we'd have a lot of work ahead of us, because you said, oh, well, most people don't believe or don't care about the talking snakes and all that. Well, you're wrong about that, because America's like almost at the bottom of the list for acceptance of biological evolution. So a whole lot of Christians totally care about this stuff and have continuously fought for creationism to be put in schools. So no to that idea completely. Now, if they were moderates, if that wasn't a thing, then I suspect atheists would go after Islam more often. Now, it's not because it's an easy target, but most of us grew up with Christianity, and it's right here, and we know it really well, whereas Islam, we don't know that much about it, and so what can you really say about it other than, well, it's another thing that's wrong? But you're trying to say, well, stop attacking them because you're hurting families and family values and all this, but start attacking the Islamists. And I got a comment on one of my videos at one point. I've gotten comments like this every now and then, where it said, nobody cares about Christianity anymore. Go attack Islam. And my response to that is going to be my response to you. If you're so gung-ho about attacking Islam, go attack Islam. Make your own videos and do it yourself. Don't ask somebody else to do it for you. Say, hey, atheist, it's your moral obligation to go after Islam because that's the real threat. Well, it's a threat, and it might even be a greater threat than any other religious ideology ever. Or maybe it's equal value. Whatever. And yeah, when I made a video against Islam, the comment I got there was, it wasn't anti-Islam enough. So you can't win for losing when you do that sort of stuff. But I promote logic and reason to the best of my limited ability. So that's against all weird ideas that are out there. And you can still hold to some sort of God, and there's still going to be some sort of religion, and it seems like you're not aware of that there are atheist churches now. And they're growing in number. So there are secular alternatives. If you really need religion, you can get it. There's nothing stopping you from making a secular and or religious church if you think that that's really important. But don't put it at the atheist feet like it's up to us to do that. If you feel so passionately about this being something that we need, then do it yourself. Or at least throw money at people that are already doing it. Goodness gracious, what a crybaby. You atheists are not attacking the right people, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. Well, why aren't you doing any of that? See, that's the thing, and there's more on this video, but atheism is not a worldview. If it was, then you could make these complaints. But it's not. And people who say there's no God or argue against God, it's just, we don't believe in this. And forwarding critical thought and questions is a good thing. Unless you're against that, which I guess you would have to be. But, on the other hand, this is a conservative sort of lean, in that conservatism is usually very pro-religious. And so I see this desire to pull us back from the edge, if you will, and say, okay, but we might need religion as a species. And Dr. Jordan Peterson has said something like that, in that humans are very animalistic, very deprived at their core, and capable of great evil. And so he doesn't believe that we would just automatically gravitate towards humanitarianism if we suddenly lost belief in God worldwide, or religion, although the two are separate things, because in your own video you show a lot of pictures and stuff about Buddhism. So there's a religion that's more benign, and then the Jains would be an even more benign religion still. But okay, again, religion can be one thing, and then belief in God can be another thing. But it's the outlandish ideas, both on the far left and on the far right, and maybe what this video is trying to get at is, well, is disbelief in God in that spectrum, and so you need not to have too much disbelief and not too much belief, and somewhere you have this balance achieved. I don't know. I know that for me personally, logic has been my deity, if you will, but I don't think I need a deity, or even to say it in that way. But it's kind of, I'll say it as a joke. It's like, yeah, well, logic is my God, and science is my religion. It's just to irritate people and make them, post crazy comments about how scientism isn't a thing. And I'll be like, well, what about logic? Should that be my God? And they can't really say much about that. But not everybody needs it. And not everybody's been brought up with a religion or with a God or anything like that. And it might be the case that removing that from people, although I don't think you can really remove it, they have to do that themselves, will leave this gaping hole that will be filled in by Islam or filled in by insanity or whatever. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. But I would need to be convinced that that's the case. And even if it was the case, it still wouldn't negate my duty to the truth as I understand it, and my duty to encourage others to think about things. I think here you've gone to a lot of trouble to pull back on anti-theism. But I think that because of your logical fallacies and your generally negative presentation towards atheism, that many atheists will hear what you say and respond quite negatively, as I've done here, but mostly because of your logical fallacies. So you don't have a valid argument. And so I have to be skeptical of what you've said. Unless and until you have a valid and sound argumentation, we have to be skeptical of your conclusions.